It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Hey, welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, and it's episode 24. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, March 19th, 2023. A beautiful Sunday, another Sunday episode of the Dep Lewis Show. I'm following the calendar appropriately for a weekly podcast, so you are welcome out there. So hello, loyal listeners. I hope you're doing great. Hope you've had a good week since we last talked about the video games and other miscellaneous things happening in the world. I'm trying to think of what I need to say to you guys. I hope you've been doing good out there. Hope you've been buying some of these new video games. Hope you've maybe been taking some time off work. You know, it's already March. The year could already be a little tough. You need to get out there, see some things. I have a friend, the great Volnus, the musician of the Dep Lewis Show podcast, has taken his talents to the Grand Canyon. So shout out to Mr. Volnus out there. Hopefully he's having a great time out there in the canyon. You know, maybe some other people are having vacations out there too. So you can listen to this Dep Lewis Show out there on your vacation. And I know it'll only enhance it. So welcome to the show today. We're going to start off with some housekeeping for this episode 24. Follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365. All the time. There's someone there checking the emails coming in. They're coming in hot. They're getting answers instantaneously. And they're hilarious and worthwhile and funny and informative. Everything you could ever dream of in a reply. So please email DepLewisShow@gmail.com with any questions or feedback. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is a good hub to find the best place for you to listen to this Dep Lewis Show podcast weekly. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. Those were on a 1-week hiatus but came back last week, so hopefully you enjoyed the clips from last week. I have some more clips for you to go this week too. And just thank you for being here as always. Thank you for being here for the 24th episode of this show. We're almost getting to the halfway point of a year. So it's pretty exciting. I guess that's the next milestone we will hit. And we're just going to keep on rolling with these video games. There's all sorts of news. This week we're going to talk about some games I've been playing as usual. I haven't played too much, but I have some things to talk about. So in the first section we're going to talk about a few games I've been playing. We're going to talk about an update on a game I have been playing but not last week. In the midsection we have some news around the video game world. Let's see here. We have a few video game releases coming up. We have one bit of news that you might need to jump on. I'm going to tell you about that. And then in the Miscellaneous Talk, the final section of the show, we're going to talk about some comedy specials I watched just last night or yesterday. I watched 2 specials. They were very entertaining. So I want to let you know that I think you should watch those and recommend them to you. So we'll talk about that. And then we obviously have some sports talk for the end of the show. A decent amount of sports talk. Nothing too overly exciting or great for the Dep Lewis Show fandom, but we got some things to talk about and discuss. That's what we're going to get into today. So here we go. Dep Lewis Show, episode 24. Thank you for being here so much. And here we go. We're going to talk about some video games. So the first video game we're going to talk about this week is the number 1 played game of myself, and that is Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. I've been really loving this. I bought this originally on the Switch last week because I have a Dead Cells copy on the Switch. So I paid $9.99 to add the DLC to my copy. I've been playing some of that, but then I also, over the weekend, decided I wanted to play this on my Xbox with my Xbox controller and, have the upgraded power of the Xbox, which I don't feel like is necessary for Dead Cells, but it is really just a preference kind of thing. You are going to, I don't know if you're going to say this game runs better on Xbox, but you are going to see a little bit better visual quality and maybe just overall feel just running on the Xbox, but I would not give this game any type of negative on the Nintendo Switch. I think it's actually very cool on the Nintendo Switch. And, now I own it both places. But I was able to actually a little bit cheat on this on the Xbox. I have Game Pass, so I was able to download Dead Cells through Game Pass since I have Game Pass Ultimate. And so that was free. And then I was able to add on the DLC for $8.99, which was actually on sale a little bit because I was a Game Pass Ultimate member. So a lot of times if you subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, you'll get sales on games that you otherwise would not. So, a pretty cool thing. So I picked this up on Xbox and I've been playing that. And let's see. Yeah, I want to play more games on my Xbox. I don't really play handheld too often, so
I'm sitting here playing this with my Switch controller, and I'm like, man, I wish I could play this on my Xbox. And it was $8.90. I was $8.99 away from doing it, so I decided to make the switch, and I've been really enjoying it. And Dead Cells. Oh yeah, I was talking about the other game I've been playing this year a lot has been Dead Space. This is Dead Cells. I was thinking of all the names of games with Dead in the title. I immediately came up with Dead Rising. The Walking Dead is one. Evil Dead. Death Stranding, Dead Island, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, and Death's Door. So those were just a few that I was quickly able to think about, and I did Google a few of them, just thinking, hey, Dead's probably pretty popular in a title, and which Dead game is the best? I would maybe have to immediately point to Red Dead Redemption because that's an awesome game. Death's Door was supposed to be good. The Walking Dead won Game of the Year awards way back in the day, and I liked that game. Dead Rising was ushered in some eras on the Xbox. Death Stranding. Pretty cool, pretty neat list, and I think Dead Cells has to be up there in contention for, one of the best Dead games out there. I feel like Dead Cells is a classic game. Me and the Great Ballinist talk sometimes about games like Dead Cells, and these are in a specific category for us. Sort of, they're timeless. You can kind of play them anytime. You can jump back into them at any time, and they still feel as good as they did before. And when these games get DLC, that's an extra exciting thing to even jump into and play. So, I definitely can recommend this Dead Cells DLC to you, especially for the nice price and for the content in it. So basically, like I was telling you last episode, you want to look for the castle outskirts on the first level, and that will get you to where you need to go for the DLC content. So it's usually down a big set of stairs in the first level. You'll notice a big set of stairs going down, and then you can hit the castle outskirts, and that's a level in itself before you can even get to Dracula's castle. So the few times I've gotten to Dracula's castle, I've died pretty early, but I'm getting better at getting through the outskirts at least, so I'm feeling confident that on each run I can make it to the castle at this point. So that's about this game. You're just putting your building blocks in, trying to get to the end, or trying to get to whatever you can, and it's been really, really super fun. I'm trying to think. Let's see here. So this is some Castlevania themed DLC. Castlevania is a very popular franchise, not one that I have a lot of interaction with myself personally, but I've obviously heard of it and seen a lot of content on it. I've just never really put my hands on a controller to play a Castlevania game. So here's a little bit of Castlevania history or notes for you, so you can know a little bit about it. It's a gothic horror action adventure video game series and media franchise about Dracula. Created and developed by Konami, has been released on various platforms from early systems to modern consoles, as well as handheld devices such as mobile phones. The franchise has expanded into several spin-off video games and other media, including comic books and an animated television series. The first release for the Family Computer Disk System video game console in Japan was September 1986. It was ported to cartridge format and released in North America for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, in May 1987, and in Europe in 1988. So I gotta say, this game's been around for a while, just like Dep Lewis from the Dep Lewis Show. It was also reissued for the Family Computer in cartridge format in 1993. It's the first game in Konami's Castlevania video game series. Players control Simon Belmont, descendant of a legendary vampire hunter who enters the castle of Count Dracula to destroy him when he suddenly reappears 100 years after Simon's ancestor vanquished him. So that's what we're doing. We're the Dead Cells guy. We're going into the castle, and we're trying to vanquish old Dracula over here. So I think this theme fits perfectly well with this game. I think it's really cool how they have you enter the castle. You have to drop the drawbridge, which I heard is a trope from the Castlevania games. And once you do that, it's permanently dropped, and you can start, entering the outskirts and doing your thing. But this game has been very fun. This game controls flawlessly. The new content is pretty paramount and pretty crucial in what I've been trying and focusing on. And I really like this game. I haven't played Dead Cells in some years since it was first released, but it's been nice to get back into it, and it feels like I am playing, a little bit of a new game. An old favorite with a new spin to it. So it's been really, really cool. Excuse me 1 second here. It's been really cool, and I recommend it to you to buy it as well. Let's see if I have anything else to say about the Dead Cells this week. Yeah, I bought this on Switch, now on Xbox. Yeah, $9.99. There's also some other Dead Cells content available, some DLC content available that you may have missed. I think you can totally buy a whole package together with Dead Cells on all the DLC, and that might be worth it. But as far as, I think this is the most substantial DLC pack, or at least the coolest looking one from my standpoint. So this might be the one to buy if you're trying to buy, if you have the game and you want to buy, one of the DLCs. I'd say pick this one up since it's the new thing you can talk about, and seems like it could be the coolest DLC for Dead Cells out there. So go play the Dead Cells, this Return to Castlevania DLC. I actually tried to record a Dep Lewis Shows Off Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC video yesterday. I recorded it, and I did not get the sound from the video game, on the Dep Lewis Shows Off. So I'm not going to be coming to you right away, but you could see a show off video for this in the future. I wanted to kind of show you how to go through the outskirts and how to get to the castle and what it looks like in there. And I made this great video and I talked over it, and it was about 15 minutes long, and I didn't get any sound from the video game, so I scrapped it. So I might redo that today, since it's easy to redo that and run through the levels again and show you around. So that might be the plan. So keep a lookout for the Dep Lewis Shows Off series on YouTube. And it's also on Patreon. If you are a ground floor tier subscriber, you can watch the videos on there. I'm putting it behind the paywall on Patreon because it's an ad-free version of the video. So that's a little incentive to hopefully get you to become a patron for the Dep Lewis Show. $1 a month. It's a general support tier, but you also get access to the Dep Lewis Shows Off series ad-free. And the price will never change. And it's for the first 100 people only. And you will always get content available in any other tiers that are created in the future for the Dep Lewis Show. So it's an investment for your entertainment future. It's probably the best one you can make. It's $1 a month. I don't think your accountant can get too mad at you for that. You can probably hide that one under the rug, from whoever you need to, from a corporate partner, a spouse, anybody. $1 a month. Not going to be looking too shady. You're helping a great podcast who's just getting started. 24 episodes in, and I think you'll actually be pretty highly respected if someone finds out that you listen. So and you support on Patreon. So you might be able to get some additional clout in the world. So I want to let you know about that. But just thank you for all of your support and listening to the show regardless. So Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, go cop that. All right, the next thing that I've been playing this week is some Dead Space. I'm still on Chapter 6. I gotta say I haven't been playing too much of other video games besides Dead Cells. But Dead Space, I am making some progress. The zero-G room, having to go up is a little bit difficult and scary. So I'm in a section right now in Chapter 6 where you're doing a lot of zero-G stuff. You're having to fly through. You're having to use your stasis to open doors. There's, bad guys attacking you while you're flying around. The bad guys are going from wall to wall, shooting shit at you, making it difficult to even fly around. And it's been tough. And it's been fun, though. But I've been making slow progress because it's been tough. I'm getting to a save point and then saving and dipping out and then jumping back in, and I think I'm almost done with those damn Weezers. I thought there was only going to be a few of those Weezers, but I'm actually having to kill a whole lot more of them, and I really do think I'm at the end of the Weezers. But when I get to the end of the Weezers, we're going to have a party because those guys are creepy and scary, and it's been a tough section. I was all happy about the horticulture section, looking so nice and beautiful and vibrant and green, and then now I'm having to kill these damn Weezers in this area. I think it's all going to end in me fighting some giant monster, which I did fight a giant monster in this section, and I don't know if I actually defeated him or I stunned him enough or what happened, but that was scary as hell. I'm just remembering that. So Dead Space has really been, it's awesome. It's survival horror to the max. It's really, really fun. It plays great. It looks great. I think I'm 5.5 hours in, almost 6 hours in. So I think that's pretty close to halfway, or maybe just a little bit over halfway. I believe there's 12 chapters, so I need to keep pushing through, and that's my plan for this game. Need to finally get through this Chapter 6 and kill these Weezers, so I'll report back to you on some Dead Space next week. I'll probably be playing some more of this week. I actually didn't play too many video games in this prior week, besides Dead Cells, so Dead Space, the other Dead game, we'll be getting some more content next week. So Dead Space is still very fun, still very high in contention for the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year for 2022. It may even be at the top. The only other game up there right now is this next game, which I haven't played any last week. I'm still stuck on Chapter 18. I'm still stuck with fighting against Linden. I'm a little bit scared to go back in there again, but I'm going to, and that is Fire Emblem Engage. I haven't played any more of this week, but it's still something on my radar and something I want to keep playing. I actually was thinking yesterday of playing this, but I just never booted it up. I've been just jumping into that Dead Cells too much. But Fire Emblem actually did have a patch on March 7th, so that was a couple weeks ago. And I never talked about it, and I missed it. But this is compatible with Wave 3 of the expansion pass. From Chapter 7 forward, you'll be able to exchange items at the Ancient Well on the Somniel. You'll need to talk to the proprietor of the armory. You can now use inherit skills in the arena. Issues have been fixed to make for a more pleasant gaming experience. So I guess that's just, smooth fixes, things in the game world that maybe little hiccups or things like that, or maybe running smoothly or some UI stuff. It's probably just nothing you would particularly notice, but hopefully for the positive. And if you're interested in trying out the new wave of the DLC, you'll need to pick up the Fire Emblem Engage expansion pass for $29.99 US, or your regional equivalent. In total, it includes access to 4 waves of DLC, with the 4th wave scheduled to be released later this year. It will add a new scenario, new characters, and more. So when I played Three Houses, I definitely thought about purchasing the DLC because it gave you access to a whole new class. Or I guess it was like a subset of characters that you could follow. You were kind of picking, like, you think of like Harry Potter, you're picking like Gryffindor. So there was like a whole new set of people you could join and, learn about and deal with and have all their skills and stuff like that. But this DLC, I don't think I would commit to playing this DLC until I got further in this game. And I am stuck on chapter 18 right now, so I need to get back into this game and start playing the mainline story. But DLC could be something I play in the future. It just depends on how things go. And obviously, I wanted you to know about the DLC since this is the Dep Lewis Show, and I'm here to give you all the most pertinent, relevant, interesting video game information you could ever need. So go check out that Fire Emblem DLC if you'd like to do that. Those waves are coming in hot. And I don't know, just expect to hear some more talk about Fire Emblem Engage next week. I should get back on this train. I should get back on the Dead Space train a good bit this week is my plan. And then obviously the Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. I think that's going to be a longer train. I'm going to run a long train on that one, where I'm going to be playing this game, on and off for a long while, I would guess. Dead Cells is something you can jump into at any time and have fun. So it's a game like I want to have a segment on this show someday talking about games like Dead Cells and Spelunky and Binding of Isaac and Hades and just games of that style, and possibly rank them and really highlight them because those are some of my favorite games. Cult of the Lamb. There's a huge list of games like this that fall into these. It's like a certain subset category. They're not all immediately connected or related, but they all have some. It's like some bit of like replayability or classicness or just feel good, and I think it could be a really cool list. And I think it's a very I don't think I'm the only one who loves these style of games and really holds them in such a high regard like I do. So we're going to talk about that someday as a future teaser for the Dep Lewis Show. But for now, this is actually going to wrap up the first section of the show today. Haven't had too many games to talk about that I've played, so that's why this section will be a little bit quick. So we're going to take our first break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the What I've Been Seeing section. This is going to be the, as the Fire Escape cast would say, the main meat of the show today. We have some good news to talk about and some video game releases that have been come out and that are coming out. And I want to talk about those and highlight those too. So we're going to take a short break, go do whatever you need to do, and then come on back and listen to this show. Midsection of episode 24 coming right after this break. See you soon. Welcome back for the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 24. Thank you for rejoining the show. We are here to talk about some news and some things around the video game world that I've been seeing and I'm interested in, and I want to let you know about, so we are going to get right into it. So the first order of business is some news about the best game of 2022 for the Dep Lewis Show, and that's Splatoon 3. The 5th Splatfest details have been released, and the 3 teams that you have to pick between are, you have to decide which of these is real. Is it Nessie, is it Aliens, or is it Bigfoot? So we're going to pick on this show which one we're going to go for. Nessie, Aliens, or Bigfoot. Nessie, Aliens, or Bigfoot. And you know what? I never thought we would do this, and I don't really even know what it is, but we're going Team Nessie. Dep Lewis Show is going to rep the Team Nessie gang, and this is going to go from 5 p.m. Pacific time on March 31st, 2023, so the end of this month, to 5 p.m. Pacific time on April 2nd, 2023. So this new Splatfest will be going from March 31st, the end of the month, to April 2nd. And the 3 teams are Nessie, Aliens, or Bigfoot. Which one do you think is real? And we're going to go with Nessie on here on the Dep Lewis Show. So please join the Nessie squad and plan to hop into the Splatfest at the end of March, because that's what I'll be doing. I have been thinking about Splatoon 3 recently, and I've been wanting to jump in and get a game or two, but this will be the perfect excuse to do it as always. The 5th Splatfest, I think I'm 2-3. I think I won the first 2 Splatfest for picking the correct side, and the last 2 that I have not. So we will see. This one I really need to get back on the right foot, and I kind of thinking through it. I think Nessie could be the dark horse. I think a lot of people want to pick Aliens. Bigfoot could probably have his subset of fans out there, but I'm thinking Nessie might really come through and be the dark horse. And so we're gonna rep Nessie as hard as we can, and we're gonna get into that Splatfest. So it's gonna be really fun. May try to get friend of the show Volnus to come through and play some Splatfest and double trouble out there and really climb up the ranks and rep the gang out here. So the Splatfest sneak peek actually starts at 1 a.m. Pacific time on 3/24/2023, so it looks like a week prior, and that's when you can choose a team and start earning conch shells. You can use those in the shell out machine, and collecting a bunch helps your Splatfest team too. So you can start doing some pre-work for the Splatfest on the 24th if you like, but the main meat of the Splatfest starts on the 31st. I'm assuming the 31st is a Friday would be my guess. So you have that weekend. It looks like, not this weekend coming up. If you're listening to the Dep Lewis Show in real time today on Sunday, March 19th, 2023. So the upcoming weekend will be no Splatfest, but the weekend after that, the end of the month, will be the Splatfest. So no April Fools. You can really go play a Splatfest if you like. So that was the main news about Splatoon 3 that I wanted to share with you today. So very exciting. I always love when a Splatfest comes through, and the perfect excuse to get back into the best game of 2022. All right. So let's talk about... I don't really have my notes in a great order this week, so I'm going to go down this list in a little bit of opposite order. But we're going to also talk about... Let's get into some Nintendo. So this is a news alert for the Dep Lewis Show. The Nintendo eShop is closing. It closes on March 27, 2023. And it may not be immediately clear how to add funds or purchase games currently, but you can look up workarounds. You are still able to purchase some games. There is a way to purchase them still. And there's many lists being created out there for things to buy. And lots of these will probably not be available again. So the things I want to talk to you about this 3DS system are, I believe the consoles are going up in price these days. So if they're a little bit harder to find, you got to drop some coin. And then you are not going to have, the ability to buy digital games on the eShop after, the 27th. So you're going to have to either find physical games, or you're going to have to, download the games you already own and have them on your console. Or you're going to have to find a way to, emulate or do something different on your 3DS outside the norm to play any of these games. I saw there was one account that, I don't know if it's a famous Twitch person, but they bought every game on the eShop. I think there was 27, I think they spent 27 grand, or they downloaded that, I don't know. I'm actually not sure about the details, but someone on there bought every game apparently, and it took them a while to do. But now they have the whole catalog of all the games on the eShop, and that is freaking insane, but pretty cool. So if you're looking to buy some 3DS games and you don't know what to buy, there's plenty of lists being created of like what you need to go grab or what you've missed. But I'm also hearing, maybe you should just move on with your life like Nintendo's doing. You maybe not try to drop all your coins last second just because of some deadline. There's a lot of great games on the 3DS. It's a very fun console. It's one of the best selling consoles ever. There's tons of great games. There's tons of great ports to it. Tons of great ways to play certain games, but I just don't know if it's in your best interest to go drop a ton of cash on these just because of a deadline. That was kind of my thought. I thought about, picking up a few games here that I've never played, like Rhythm Heaven, but, there's a million video games out here in this world. They're being released every day. Nintendo's not very good about putting prior gen console on new console stuff very easily, or, making things accessible. They're drip feeding things to us nowadays, but, I don't know. I think it's probably the smart stance not to go buy anything just on a whim. But if you've been thinking about it or on the fence, this is the time to go do it because it's your last opportunity. And just some other 3DS tips. I know if you haven't played your 3DS in a while and it's just sitting in your closet, you should take the battery out of it. Those can tend to, I guess, explode or leak over time, and it could just mess up your console. So if you're not into playing your 3DS recently, please go take your battery out of your console. That will allow you to, hopefully, preserve your console. And I think that'll preserve the battery too. I don't know if I guess worst case in that scenario, you could just have to buy a new battery and your console would work fine. But it's crazy. I think it costs hundreds of dollars now to get a DS console a lot of places, and the games are going to go up in prices too. And I just don't know. It's really going to be a collect-a-thon for these things, for a lot of these hard copies of games. You can't even really find hard copies of 3DS games anywhere anymore. GameStop used to always have used ones, and I don't even think that's the case anymore unless it's like a big GameStop store. But some interesting news there for the eShop. So if you're looking to buy some 3DS games, go buy them now before 3/27/23. Okay, now we're going to talk about, let's see, we got some video games coming out, but we got something that's available now. And one thing that's available now that interests me is Metroid Fusion. You can play this now on Nintendo Switch Online plus Expansion Pass, which costs $49.99 annually. So I've been thinking recently that I need to upgrade to this Expansion Pass so I can try out some of these things, and I think I'm going to do so. I've always just kind of subscribed to the base model of Nintendo Switch Online, but having these Game Boy Advance games has been pretty enticing to go try them out on on Nintendo Switch Online, so it's something I might do. But Metroid Fusion is an action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo for the Game Boy Advance in 2002. It was developed by Nintendo Research and Development 1, which had developed the previous Metroid game, Super Metroid, from 1994. Ever heard of it? Players control the bounty hunter Samus Aran, who investigates a space station infected with shape-shifting parasites known as X. And this is a side-scrolling game with platform jumping, shooting, and puzzle elements. It introduces mission-based progression that guides the player through certain areas. It was released the day before the GameCube game Metroid Prime in North America. Both games can be linked using the GameCube Game Boy Advance link cable to unlock additional content for Prime. That's very cool. And the sequel to this game is Metroid Dread that released in 2021, which I owned that game and thought it was very cool. I didn't beat it, obviously, because I'm a noob, but just really cool. I have a lot of respect for the Metroid franchise. It's something I need to get into in the future more heavily, and I don't know, I think it's cool that this is the side-scrolling prequel to Metroid Dread. I think that's pretty neat. I think it could be a cool thing to try to play this before getting back into Dread at some point, and I just know a lot of people were excited this came to Nintendo Switch Online, so I wanted to highlight that for you. I think Metroid's a really, really cool franchise, and something I need to play more of, so really neat. So go check that out right now if you'd like to. You can go play it right now. Something else you can go play right now that released on the 17th, March 17th, 2023, is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza. I guess how you say that? Cereza and the Lost Demon, Cereza. And this is $59.99 and part of the Nintendo Switch game voucher promotion if you'd like to take advantage of that. So the Nintendo Switch game voucher promotion, you can spend $100. Nintendo will give you 2 game vouchers that you can redeem for 2 games on this list they have. One of those being Tears of the Kingdom, Legend of Zelda is on there. And then, you might want to find your second game. So maybe it could be Bayonetta Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon. And this game, as long before this trainee of the Dark Arts would come to be called Bayonetta, she took a fateful journey into the forbidden Avalon Forest. Alongside her was Cheshire, her very first demon, possessing Cereza's stuffed toy. Play as both Cereza and Cheshire and search through the treacherous forest to look for the power to save Cereza's mother. So, this game is, the concept of this game I think is very neat. I think it's cool to have, Bayonetta main franchise has three main games in it. Bayonetta 3 came out last year, I think is what it was. And, mainly it's a fighting hack and slash kind of game, very action oriented. And this game seems to be a little more adventure-y, more of a top-down overlook style to it. This has a whole different look and feel to it, but it's still the same in the same universe. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's cool that it's like an origin. This is before she would become known as Bayonetta. So I think the goal here would be to latch some new fans on for the Bayonetta series. They'll get them in with this style of game. Maybe this game will attract a wider audience or a different subset of like video game audiences, and then it could possibly bring them back into the original trilogy and get some more sales there. So I think it's cool as long as this game is good and fun. So we will see. I haven't really heard too many. I didn't really actually see anybody talking or playing about this week. So I don't know if they sent review codes out. I don't know if it's just something that I missed being talked about. But I would hope I'm going to seek out some content on this game just to get a look at it. I'd like to see some outlet playing it so I could see what's going on with it. But I've never really played the Bayonetta games. I've always had some interest in them. I just never got around to do it, and I don't know. I think maybe if I was going to start, dabbling with the series, this would be where I start possibly. Just kind of like, instead of going to play Metroid Dread, I'd maybe go play Metroid Fusion now if I wanted to really get on a Metroid kick. So we will see. But I just thought it's interesting that that's out, and it's part of the Nintendo Switch game voucher promotion, which is really cool. I'm really a big fan of that. I haven't found I haven't utilized it yet, but I have The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on my wish list, and that's going to be a day one purchase. So if there's another game that I can incorporate into this voucher system that is worthwhile, then I will do so. And I'll save some money and I'll have 2 games, which will be very nice. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some things that are coming out. One thing that I want to talk about is a game called Have a Nice Death, which I've just realized, I've been waiting on this game to come out on Switch. I believe it releases on the, I think it's the 22nd, 24th. It comes out this week. So if you're listening once again to the Dep Lewis Show in real time, March 19th, Have a Nice Death releases on Nintendo Switch this week. But I've also learned, which has been confusing to me, that this game has been on Steam for over a year in early access. So I could have been playing this game on my laptop and using my controller how I like to do it. And I'm thinking about trying this actually. It's actually on sale a little bit right now. I think it's $22 on Steam, where I think it'll be released for $25 on Switch. So it's a couple dollars off on Steam. I generally don't play too many games on Steam, but I do have the possibility to do so. And I can use my controller. So, I'm going through some things with this stuff. Like, just like with Dead Cells, I wanted to play on my Xbox. So I'm leaning a little more Xbox heavy these days if I'm able to buy these games on Xbox. Have a Nice Death is something that, I was thinking I was going to buy on Switch because that was going to be the only option. But, this game has been available on Steam. I looked up that this game could possibly come to other consoles as well. So this could be something now that I maybe, I wait for it to come to Xbox, since I'm becoming such an Xbox, I'm utilizing my Xbox so much. I missed out on early access. Why not keep waiting? That's just a thought. This game is on sale on Steam for a couple of dollars. Not sure I want to start a Steam game. I'm reading my notes. Or add a Steam game into my mix of games. Yeah, I don't know if I like that either, having a new platform that I'm rotating in with different games. I do always have my laptop on me, so that's a pro to the argument of downloading some Steam stuff. And, I do have a little bit of a hankering to buy a Steam Deck, so I don't know. I'm a little bit on standby with this game. I've been wanting to purchase it day one, but I'm just thinking about the circumstances around it and what's going on, and maybe I can practice some patience here, but we will see. But either way, Have a Nice Death comes out next week. I wish I had the day to tell you about it, but I know I've talked about it on previous podcasts. But look out for it this week if you want to buy it on Switch. I believe it's $24.99, or you can go buy it on Steam right now. It's a little bit on sale, a couple bucks off, and you can play it right now if you'd like to. So Have a Nice Death looks really cool. It looks like it could fall into a category of games like Dead Cells and Binding of Isaac and Splunky. Like I was talking about earlier in the show, this looks like it could be a candidate for one of those types of games, so that's very exciting, and I'll definitely be giving you some more information about this game. I expect to see people talking about this and see some content on it, so that's kind of what I've been waiting on too. I really got kind of sold on this game when I saw the first trailer for it, so I was kind of already sold at that point on, and I think this is cool, but I really haven't seen too much content on it, so that'd be nice to see, so then I can make a more of an informed decision. Alright, so the last thing we're going to talk about in this section is another game that comes out in this upcoming week if you're listening in real time, and that is Friday, March 24, 2023, the Resident Evil 4 Remake comes out. Dan Reichert says it's the best remake of all time, and you can go play the Chainsaw demo right now if you'd like to. I think it's 10 gigs to download on any place this game's going to be available, and you can go play that right now to get a sense of how it's going to be. But Resident Evil 4 is touted as the best Resident Evil game by many people. And if this remake is being touted as the best remake of all time, I think that's an epic combination. It sounds like the perfect marriage between an old classic game that people love and, new upgrades, new quality of life improvements and changes. And I don't know, I definitely want to buy this game. I'm definitely going to buy it. It's just when I'm going to buy it is the question. I have other stuff I'm playing right now. I'm still survival horroring through Dead Space, but I don't know if it's going to be detrimental to play this as well, because I really want to, so we will see. Possibly next week you can hear me talking about this in some form or facet, possibly me playing, or possibly me just talking about other people playing this. But the Resident Evil 4 Remake, it's a full price game. I believe it's $59.99. I don't think it's succumbed to the price increase yet, but you can pre-order it. I tried to look if you can play this early at all. I looked. There's apparently some trick where you can Google this. If you can change your console to New Zealand time, I believe it is, you can play this game a little bit early, but I don't know the other ramifications or repercussions of that. And I don't need to, I'm not jonesing that hard to play hardly anything, so to be like working the system like that. But Friday you can play this game if you'd like to, of the upcoming week, March 24, 2023. And I expect to hear I expect this is an old game, but it's a remake, but I kind of expect this to shake the shake the video game landscape up. I think a lot of people are going to be talking about this and hype about it and loving it and putting it on their Game of the Year list. So I think this kind of be a big event here early in the year for an old franchise. So very, very cool. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to playing it and talking about it and seeing some content. So that's what we'll be doing here on the Dep Lewis Show. So that is going to wrap up the midsection of the show today for news and happenings around the video game world. We talked about the new Splatfest coming up at the end of the month. We talked about the closing of the Nintendo eShop, so go cop those games if you'd like to. We talked about the availability of Metroid Fusion on Nintendo Switch Online plus Expansion Pass. We talked about we talked about Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon being released on the 17th, so that game's available now. You can go play it. We talked about Have a Nice Death coming out on Nintendo Switch next week, and it's already available on Steam if you'd like to play that. And then the Resident Evil 4 remake comes out Friday, March 24th, 2023. A game that the Dep Lewis Show is very excited for, and we will be talking about in the future. So thank you for listening to this midsection. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some new news. And, Team Nessie. So for the Splatfest coming up by the end of the month, Team Nessie. It's Team Nessie over Team Aliens and Team Bigfoot. So which one is real? We're going with Nessie. And things are going to get messy. Pretty terrible rhyme there. But join the Nessie gang, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back for the final section of this show, the Miscellaneous Talk section. We're going to talk a couple comedy specials that I've seen, and then we're going to get into the wonderful world of sports. So please come back for that discussion in just a minute. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 24. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section. And just thank you for returning to the show. We're going to talk about a few things comedy related here at the top. And then we're going to get into the wonderful world of sports and talk about some things happening around the sports world. So we're going to start with some comedy. The first thing I want to mention is, I don't know if I talked about this before, but I saw David Lucas in person. The famous David Lucas, the famous roaster from the Kill Tony show. He comes up there and does a minute every time. He's available, and he's hilarious, and he roasts people, and he roasts the comedians, he roasts the people in the crowd. That's his main forte. He goes back and forth with Tony. Him and Tony have probably roasted each other more in the history of anyone, and I just really enjoyed seeing him in person. I believe it was 4 openers he had. I don't know if any of them were related to him, but they were very funny, and it was just a good experience. It was nice to be able to see someone I've seen on the internet so much in person, and he lived up to the hype. So, go pay some money if you see David Lucas on the road. Go see him do a show. He was rocking some camo. He was up there hitting his vape. He was drinking. And he brought up people from the audience and roasted them. He made a line of people come up to the stage, and he roasted them all in quick work. And it was just very funny, and it was cool to see him in person. And I hope to go see some more comedy shows here in the future. So another nice perk of living where I live now, so I'll be on the lookout for some comedy shows. And, besides seeing them in person, this week there was some new comedy specials released. And, one of these I missed from a couple weeks back, but I want to talk about it. So I watched 2 specials last night. I watched Bert Kreischer's new special, Razzle Dazzle, so you all know him, Bert Kreischer the Machine, Mr. Two Bears, One Cave himself, Mr. Bertcast himself. Bert has a million podcasts. He does a million shows. He's a world famous comic. He's highly successful. He's very funny and entertaining, and his new special was all of that and more. So Razzle Dazzle was really, really funny. I think I've seen all Bert's specials, I would say, and this could be his funniest one. I loved he had some really high highs in this show, and it was an hour long, maybe over an hour of comedy. Shot really well. He took his shirt off. Scenery looked cool. His stories were epic, and I just think it was really, really impressive, and it was better than I expected even. And I have, high hopes and high regard for Bert already, and this was even better than expected. So go watch this on Netflix. Go support Bert. Go watch his shows. Go like him on social media, and stream his special and tell people about it. It's very funny. And then the other special I watched last night was the new Chris Rock special called Selective Outrage. And this was funny as well. He got into the Will Smith stuff at the end. He called him a bitch a bunch of times. He had a lot of funny jokes. And Chris Rock is he's a legendary comedian, and this was a great hour special. I watched it on Netflix. I didn't watch it live when it came out, but I watched whatever was available on Netflix. And, he was talking about some real life stuff in there, giving his Chris Rock wisdom. And it was also very funny. And I highly recommend it. I watched both of them back to back last night, and I was laughing my ass off and just super happy to see some new comedy, and just very cool. I was a little bit surprised by the Bert Kreischer special getting released. I just saw Bert, appearing on a million podcasts this week, and he was on Rogan. I was like, what's up with Bert? And he actually had a special drop, so I was a little bit surprised by that, but very excited. And then the Chris Rock special is something that I heard about, I guess it was a week back or so that a lot of people were talking about it, but I finally just got around to watching it, and I loved it. So I think you should go watch both of those if you're a fan of comedy. I think there's something good there in each of those specials, and I would dare to say that you will like them. I think they're funny. So, shout out to those comedians, and shout out to David Lucas as well, and shout out to the Kill Tony Show. If you never heard of that, Monday nights at 9 p.m. The Kill Tony Show they have people sign up for the show, and they're signing up to do a minute of comedy. They come up on the stage in front of Tony and Red Band and the guest and do their minute of comedy, and then they discuss what just happened with Tony and them on the panel after, and that's where a lot of the comedy gold from that show comes from. But Kill Tony is a wonderful show. I watch it every Monday night, or I'm checking for it every Monday night, and I watch it during the week at some point. And I believe at some point they've been doing this show at somewhere in Austin, Texas. It's either the Vulcan or there's some comedy room they're doing this at. But then now they're going to start doing it at Joe Rogan's new comedy hub, the Mothership, his new comedy club. So it'll be interesting to see Kill Tony transitioned over there, and if it's going to be full time over there, I don't know. But it's something I'm checking for to look into. So I don't know if it'll be this upcoming episode this Monday, tomorrow. It'll be the first Mothership episode, but I anticipate maybe it'll be in the next coming weeks would be my guess. But very cool. Kill Tony, one of my favorite podcasts and shows around, so I think you should go check it out if you've never heard of it. Go Google Kill Tony. There's a million episodes, probably someone on the panel that you like, or someone that you're interested to see, and they've probably been on there multiple times, so go check it out. It's very, very cool. All right, so now we're going to get into sports, the world of sports. The official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers. I'm still sad about DJ Moore, and I moved on a little bit, but still sad, and it still stings. Some more players have been going to Chicago from the Panthers. Deontay Foreman signed up there. PJ Walker signed up there. And I don't know if there's any others, but I was made a list last week. When I typed this, I said, who is in contention for my favorite new Panther? I made a list. I think it's Brian Burns, but there's also Shaq Thompson, Derek Brown, Ike Ekwonu, J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chin, and Chuba Hubbard. So I got a few guys there that I can potentially like, mostly on the defensive side of things. But the Panthers have been bringing in some free agents. They brought in Hayden Hurst. They brought in Miles Sanders. They got a guy named Tuttle. They got Von Bell. I think they signed another offensive lineman who might not start, but he was somebody they signed. So I think Hayden Hurst and Miles Sanders are decent options for some weapons. But, I'm not going to be excited about any of this offense until I see it happen. Until I see the quarterback get picked. It's most likely going to be, with the first pick overall, it could be C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. It could be Bryce Young from Alabama. Anthony Richardson from Florida and Will Levis from Kentucky, I think, are the main top dogs that can be getting drafted. I think I'm on the C.J. Stroud hype train right now. I think I like him I think I've been sold because he's a bigger guy. I think he's 6'4". And then I believe Ohio State was in the semis last year. So I think it's nice that he took his team pretty far into the college football world. But I believe Bryce Young has been touted as the favorite for the Panthers. So I don't know. Sounds cool. Bryce Young is a little undersized, but they say he's got a big football brain, and he's very elusive in the pocket, and he played for Alabama, so that's a very good sign just in general. But we will see. I'm still a little bit upset with the Panthers. I'm thinking about my new favorite Panther, maybe a new jersey to buy. I already own a Brian Burns jersey, so maybe I'll just be holding off on buying jerseys, but we'll see. I'm going to get excited for the draft. I'm going to be hopeful for the new quarterback, and I'm a little bit scared. I still think their defense could be pretty good, but think the offense is a huge question mark. And we're really going to need this rookie to come in and just be firing on all cylinders from the start. So we will see. It's never really happened. Most things aren't going the Panthers' ways these days, so it's not too smart to probably expect something to go positively, but you never know. Things can change in a second, and we will see. So I'll be rooting for it either way. And that's all I got to say about the Carolina Panthers this week. All right. The Charlotte Hornets, they lost to the Cavs on Sunday night. They played them again on Tuesday, which I believe they lost. They played Philly on Friday, and I was thinking about going to this, but I decided not to, and I'm glad I didn't because I think the game was over in the third quarter. I think it was like 90-60 or something I saw in the third quarter, so light work for Philly. They got walloped, or Hornets got walloped by Joel Embiid and Harden in them. Wasn't close at all. And then, just been thinking about my favorite players and things. So potential Hornets favorite players would just be right now LaMelo, which is probably the one, or Rozier or Hayward. But, Rozier and Hayward are anticipated to be in some trade rumors or possibly get moved in the offseason. Even Michael Jordan's trying to move himself in the offseason. So he's the majority owner of the Hornets right now. And the news broke that he is looking to sell his stake, possibly, and become a minority owner in the Hornets. So that could be for the best. Jordan hasn't had too much success as an owner, but I guess it's probably hard to do. A little bit harder to do in a smaller market for the Hornets, but you got to put some results out there. And they had that video of Jordan being really frustrated on the sideline recently, so not a good look for franchise confidence. And maybe it is a sign that he needs to move on. It'll be best for both sides possibly, but Charlotte Hornets, they're just trying to end their season. I would maybe be going to some more of these games if LaMelo was still playing, but the Hornets don't have too much to play for. They're just mainly going to get walloped by these other teams, and I don't know. I think there's tickets they play the Pacers tomorrow night on Monday, and those tickets you can get for like $4. So it's possible I might just go to one of those because it's inexpensive, but I don't anticipate it to be any great, too exciting of basketball to end this season from the Hornets. But all right, the other NBA team that the Dep Lewis Show follows is the Atlanta Hawks. Let's see. I'm just talking about my favorite players from them. So my options there are Trey, he'd be number one, Collins, Murray, Hunter, Okongwu, and AJ Griffin could be the other candidates. Also maybe Jalen Johnson some, but since my move to North Carolina, I've been checking on the Hornets a little more often. Hawks have been falling a little bit to the wayside. Hawks have been a little bit mediocre like usual, and I don't know. My fandom is up for grabs right now a little bit in the basketball world, but we will see. All right, so the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, however, is baseball, and the exciting, baseball. The Braves season starts on March 30th, so we are 11 days away from regular season baseball. So teams have been going through spring training, and then players have also been competing in the World Baseball Classic. And I started watching this after my YouTube TV sub. I got a free trial to YouTube TV, and I really like the YouTube TV UI, but they don't have Valley Sports is the only negative there. So I'm thinking about I gotta find a way to watch the Braves. So I've been thinking about using ExpressVPN with MLB TV, Fubo TV. I believe you can subscribe to, and it automatically has the Valley Sports if you. Well, no, it doesn't automatically have it. Fubo TV is $74 a month, and then you pay a $13 additional fee for local sports, so it's something like $88. So these things are expensive. So I'm trying to find the best way to watch baseball this season, but I've been able to watch this World Baseball Classic on my YouTube TV subscription. So I have a free trial of YouTube TV. I went into this trial knowing that I couldn't watch the Braves, but my trial ends on the 26th or something like that, and I just wanted to be able to watch March Madness and whatever else is going on right now. And I did used to subscribe to YouTube TV back in the day when they had Bally, and I loved it. So it's a little bit sad to not be able to have that option now, but it was still cool to use it. But then, like 3 days after I'm using this free trial, they come out and say they're raising the prices for YouTube TV. So just something that out there. I think it's like $10 more a month. They are offering that option now for the multi-streams. Like you can watch like 4 March Madness games on the screen at one time, so that's pretty cool and a new feature. It'll be something interesting that if you could like customize those or personalize the channels you wanted to put on in the different boxes. So I think it's nice that they gave you that feature during the week of the price hike. I think that was pretty smart and pretty tactical, but I'm not going to be paying for this if I can't watch the Braves on it, and that is the main thing. So we will see. I'm figuring out my streaming world coming up here, but the World Baseball Classic has been very fun to watch. Let's see. These are probably a little bit older notes. The first game was Venezuela versus Puerto Rico that I watched. I've been cheering for Venezuela because of Ronald Acuna Jr. Rosario's been on fire for Puerto Rico. Saw Miggy Cabrera out there, and they say he's played in the World Baseball Classic every time his whole career. That's pretty cool. USA has been playing. USA is actually in the semifinals. Trey Turner hit a grand slam last night to take the lead, and they won the game, so now they're in the semis. I need to remember that Trey Turner is now back in the Braves division. He's on the Phillies. I was still thinking I had a brain fart and thought he was on the Dodgers still, but that guy's on the Phillies and he is deadly. But the Phillies still have no respect for the Phillies. Never will. I'm just kidding. I just don't like the Phillies. I'm upset at them, and I'm not happy that Trey Turner's on their team. That was something I think I was trying to block out of my mind, but whatever. Braves will be ready for whatever. But the World Baseball Classic has brought on some debate of whether or not players should be playing in this. The Edwin Diaz got injured and he's out for the season, so that's the Mets closer who just got paid, and that's bad news for Mets fans. And there's been a lot of discourse online. I think it's mainly all been started by KFC from Barstool. He came out and said that the World Baseball Classic was stupid, and he just made everybody online mad about that, basically. And I believe he's the sole starter of this whole debate online about the World Baseball Classic, and why do people playing in it? Why do we care? No one likes this. It's ridiculous that these people are excited, but I mean, if you watch these games, there's people in the crowd. I even mentioned that there's more fans in the stands at the Marlins Stadium for the World Baseball Classic than for the Marlins. There's a ton of fans for this. Maybe they're not all American fans, but people are loving this. The players are competing in this. No one's making them, forcing them to compete in this. So I think it's a little bit silly to be upset about this. And I think you can be upset about one of your players getting injured. Like if you're a Mets fan and Edwin Diaz is injured, but I mean, you can worry about that at any time. They can get hurt in spring training. They can get hurt riding a jet ski in the off season. They can get, whatever. Whatever could happen to these people. Anybody in the world could happen to any of these baseball players. So I think it's a little bit silly to rain on the parade of the World Baseball Classic when so many people are enjoying it. But, you have the right to love or hate on whatever you want to. I just think it's a little bit silly. I do think it's funny that I think one person pretty much set off the whole internet to have to stand up for the World Baseball Classic. I feel like everyone was coming out and dropping a tweet and saying, World Baseball Classic is cool. And they're all like basically just shadow answering one guy from Barstool who had an opinion that he didn't like it. So I don't think it's really something that you have to defend, but it's been really fun to watch. I haven't been watching the whole thing, but I've been watching some of the games, and I'll probably check out some of these games to close it out, especially because the USA is trying to go all the way. So it's been a fun for me, a fun way to see some competitive baseball before the season starts. I think that's been really nice because these players aren't phoning it in. They're really out there trying to win these games, and you're getting to see a lot of great players from the Major League Baseball itself. You're getting to see teammates that you haven't seen play together before, and they have a lot of great players on these rosters, so it's cool to see. It's like all-star team on all-star team of great players, so it's fun to watch, especially if you're an avid baseball fan, because it's baseball and it's awesome. And so the Atlanta Braves, the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, starts March 30th. I'm ready. I want to buy a jersey possibly. I'm thinking Olsen or Riley. They have Fred McGriff t-shirts on the store, and he's one of my favorite Braves of all time, the old crime dog. I'd really like to have a pitcher jersey one day. That'd be cool. Maybe even a white jersey too. And then for my favorite Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr. He's probably my favorite athlete at this moment. But other options for favorite Braves could be Ozzie, Matt Olson, Charlie Morton, Austin Riley, Max Fried, Mike Harris, Sean Murphy. I'm excited about Sean Murphy, the new catcher, so much. Spencer Strider, Vaughn Grissom, and Kyle Wright. There's a little bit of discussion of Vaughn Grissom versus Shoemake, I think is his name, who is the younger guy to play shortstop. I think he's really been coming on. But it seems like one of those guys is going to be starting in AAA in Gwinnett, and then one's going to be in the big league. So we will see. Shortstop position will be an interesting one to see for the Braves this year with the departure of Dansby. We need Grissom to step up, hopefully, but it looks like Grissom could have someone, chomping at the bit to take his spot, that Shoemake guy. So we will see. Should be interesting, and I am very excited for the baseball season to start, and you're going to be hearing a lot of baseball talk in the Miscellaneous Talk section on the Dep Lewis Show, so I just want to prepare you for that. And as long as I can find a way to watch these games. I usually subscribe to MLB TV so I can watch all the teams, but the main focus is going to be trying to watch the Braves. And if I can do all at once, that'd be even better. But either way, the baseball is coming. The baseball is here a little bit, and the baseball is not stopping. So neither is this Dep Lewis Show, except for this episode today. But we're going to be back for many, many more episodes. But this is going to wrap up the Miscellaneous Talk section of Dep Lewis Show episode 24. And that's in tune going to wrap up the show. So thank you so much for listening to the show this week. We talked about what I've been playing, what I've been seeing, and we talked about some miscellaneous talk. We talked about some comedy, and we talked about some sports. And it's been a really great week, and I hope next week will be as well. And just thank you for listening to this show as always. I hope you play a lot of games this week. I hope you go watch some comedy specials. I hope you go watch some baseball. Hope the Panthers have some good news in the week ahead of some kind, some positive Panthers news or whatever it may be. No more trades of favorite players of mine from any teams that I like would be nice. Just thank you for listening to this show. Please follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips on YouTube and TikTok. Maybe keep your eyes out for a Dep Lewis Shows Off this week for a Dep Lewis Shows Off Dead Cells Return to Castlevania DLC. And just check out for next week, episode 26, or episode 25, because that's where I'll be. I'll be back here next week for episode 25, and I hope you will be too. And just thank you for listening as always. And have a great week out there, loyal listener. We'll see you next time. Peace.